Once upon a time in Ijaye, a town nestled amidst rolling hills and vibrant green valleys, there lived a young couple, Akinjide and Abeni, whose love story was as familiar and comforting as the scent of freshly baked bread. Akinjide was a palm wine tapper and his wife Abeni was a weaver. Her nimble fingers transformed vibrant threads into beautiful fabrics. Their love, as pure and enduring as the fabrics Abeni wove, was a constant source of warmth and joy for all who knew them. Baba Adeleye, Akinjide's boss and mentor, is feared and respected by everyone. It is believed that no one dare mess with Baba Adeleye, but beneath his gruffly exterior resided a heart filled with generosity and kindness. A man who had taken Akinjide under his wing when he was a young boy, teaching him the secrets of palm wine tapping and the intricacies of running a successful business. He had treated Akinjide like his own son, celebrating his successes and offering a steady hand during challenging times. Akinjide loved and respected Baba and Mama Adeleye so much that when they approached him to take their only daughter as second wife, he accepted without second thoughts. Olawunmi is the only child of Mama and Baba Adeleye. Unlike her parents, Olawunmi possessed a personality as sour as a week-old batch of palm wine. With a perpetually upturned nose and a voice laced with disdain, she treated everyone around her with a haughty indifference. Suitors, drawn initially by her family's wealth, were quickly repelled by her obnoxious behavior. Olawunmi, accustomed to getting away with a flick of her heavily jeweled wrist and a pout that could curdle milk, couldn't understand why no decent young man was interested in taking her hand in marriage. This naturally became a source of immense worry for Baba Adeleye and his wife, Mama Adeleye. They envisioned a future filled with joyous grandchildren and lively family gatherings, and a future that seemed increasingly bleak with each passing year of Olawunmi not finding a suitable suitor. After a long period of consideration, Mama and Baba Adeleye decided to summon Akinjide. They spoke of their worries for Olawunmi, of their desire to see her settled and happy, and then, with a hesitant voice, Baba Adeleye presented their unthinkable position. Would Akinjide, his most trusted employee and practically a son to him, consider taking his only daughter, Olawunmi, as his second wife? Abeni, a woman of immense grace and unwavering strength, welcomed Olawunmi into their home with open arms. She helped Olawunmi settle in, showing her the intricacies of their small but comfortable home and introducing her to the rhythm of life as a married woman. At first, Olawunmi behaved with a forced civility, but as days rolled by, her true colors emerged. She constantly belittled Abeni, boasting of her family's wealth and mocking Abeni's simple life, scoffing at her modest background. Olawunmi does not respect Abeni as her senior wife. She is always condescending towards her and at any given opportunity spites Abeni with her expensive clothes and accessories. She would treat Abeni like she is a nobody. Olawunmi always makes sure to let Abeni know that her family can buy all of the entirety of Abeni's family with their wealth. Abeni, a woman of quiet strength, endured Olawunmi's taunts silently, choosing to keep the peace within the household and not to burden Akinjide with domestic strife. Instead, Abeni focused on creating a heaven within their home, filled with warmth, laughter, and the delicious aroma of her special peanut butter soup, which her husband Akinjide often declared as the best in all of Ijaye. Abeni and Olawunmi has a son each. Their sons grew up mirroring their mother's personalities. Abeni's son, Ayokunle, is respectful and diligent, while Olawunmi's son, Oladapo, is as badly behaved as his mother. He is rude and obnoxious to everyone, young and old, and would always pick fights with other kids at school and in the neighborhood. The two boys grew older in their characters. Ayo, who is diligent and smart, always has his brows furrowed over textbooks. He spent his days lost in the world of arithmetics, stories and knowledge of faraway lands. His thirst for knowledge as insatiable as dry lands during the harmattan season. Ayo's academic achievements brought him awards and recognition from the school, as he would always come first in his class. His good manners and helpful nature earned him praises from neighbors and elders in the community. Dapo, on the other hand, was a source of constant trouble. His days filled with pranks, disrespect, and mischief. He reveled in negative attention and had a knack for getting himself into scrapes. He is always coming last in his class, and instead of gifts and awards, the only thing he brings home is complaints from neighbors and teachers about his bad behaviors. Respect for elders was a foreign concept to him, and his loud pronouncements and disregard for rules often left Abeni shaking her head in exasperation, but she dares not correct Dapo for any wrongdoing. Akinjide, their husband, who comes home late in the evening, doesn't know how bad the situation in his household is. Left with no choice as she feared for Oladapo's future, Abeni told Akinjide of the things that's been going on in the house while he is away toiling for the family. On hearing the complaints about Oladapo, Akinjide called his two wives and sons together to speak to them. His face was etched with worry and his voice was subdued. Neighbors had begun to grumble about Dapo's behavior, and whispers of his disrespect were spreading through the village. He urged both Abeni and Olawunmi to monitor Oladapo together, as it takes a village to raise a child. He then encourages Dapo to look up to his older brother, who is getting gifts and awards, and stop embarrassing the family. Whatever Akinjide said didn't sit well with Olawunmi. Her son should be the golden child and not that useless Abeni's child. Fuming that Ayo was the center of attention, she simmered with silent resentment. She saw Ayo's awards and recognition as a slight to her son, and Akinjide's words as a criticism of her parenting, but she maintained her cool at the meeting so that their husband will not reprimand her. If Olawunmi hated Abeni and her son before, the hate intensified after the meeting called by Akinjide. How come it's only Abeni's son getting all the attention and adoration in school, neighborhood, and even at home? She went to the children's school to talk to one of the teachers to start doing extra lessons for Dapo. But still, nothing much changed about the situation, as Dapo was too playful and unserious. Ayo came home from school with news that an international organization gave him and two other children from their school full scholarships starting from their current class till they complete university education. It was a happy day for the whole family as they celebrated Ayo's success. Olawunmi, however, was not happy with the situation, but she feigned smiles throughout. The next morning, when the children were leaving for school, Olawunmi called Ayo aside to tell him that she will prepare his favorite dish of yam porridge, asaro elepo rede, for him to celebrate his scholarship. Ayo thanked her and looked forward to the end of school so he could have a nice meal of asaro. Olawunmi's plan is to poison the yam porridge she promised Ayo because she wanted him dead. At least a dead child doesn't collect scholarship, she thought to herself. Blinded by jealousy, Olawunmi ventured out, her face hidden beneath her Ankara head wrap. She made her way to the outskirts of Ijaye, where a crumbling mud hut stood, its thatched roof barely clinging to the rickety frame. This was the abode of Ijaye, a woman whispered about in hushed tones, a woman with eyes that held ancient secrets and a reputation for concocting potent poison. Olawunmi pushed open the creaking door, the stench of stale herbs and incense filling her nostrils. Ijaye bent over his steaming pot, looked up, and gazed sharp as a ox. Olawunmi's voice trembled with envy and resentment as she explained what she wants to Ijaye. Ijaye listened patiently, and when Olawunmi finished, Ijaye cackled, a sound that sent shivers down Olawunmi's spine. Ijaye handed her a vial filled with a shimmering liquid, a poison that could be slipped into food, leaving no trace. However, she warned Olawunmi, the potion came with a price. It had no antidote. Desperate and consumed by her malevolent intent, Olawunmi agreed, ignoring the hammering of her heart against her ribs. Olawunmi returned home to prepare a steaming pot of Ayo's favorite dish of asaro, which she added the poison to while cooking. She dished it and carefully placed it aside where Ayo's food usually sits in the kitchen. At the close of school, Ayo, eager to go and eat his yam porridge, scurried home and went straight to the kitchen after dropping his school bag and changing clothes. Unfortunately for him, he met Dapo sitting on the floor of the kitchen, devouring the plate of yam porridge that was supposed to be his. Unknown to both Olawunmi and Ayo, Dapo had heard when his mother told Ayo about the yam porridge, so he didn't bother to wait for his extra lessons. He snuck into the house through the back door into the kitchen so that no one will see him. Not bothering to remove his school uniform or drop his school bag where he's supposed to, he sat on the kitchen floor, ignoring his own bowl of food on the kitchen counter. He picked the bowl of sizzling hot yam porridge and started devouring it. When Ayo entered the kitchen and saw him, he was sad, but as always, Dapo has always taken things that are supposed to be for him in the past, and his mother, Abeni, will always tell him to overlook it. After all, he is older than him. So he overlooked it this time around also and simply picked the bowl of food that is supposed to be for Dapo to eat. When Olawunmi saw Ayo, she asked him whether he had eaten and enjoyed his food, and Ayo, not disclosing that Dapo had switched the food, replied yes. Olawunmi was happy to hear this. Unknown to her that it was her own son that ate the poisoned meal, she had planned it out perfectly. Her son Dapo will still be in school doing extra lessons by the time Ayo comes in. She told Ayo about the food to build his anticipation, knowing he loves yam porridge. Abeni herself will still be in the market selling her wares, so she wouldn't know anything about the yam porridge. She was waiting for the time tragedy will strike, as the type of poison she got is the one that will take some time before working to avoid suspicion. During the middle of the night, Dapo started tossing and turning on the bed, and in a short while, he woke up holding his stomach. The pain was mild at first, but after a while, he couldn't bear it. He started crying. Olawunmi woke up to ask him what's wrong, and he told her he's having discomfort in his stomach. Olawunmi started looking for what she would give him to drink when she heard a shrilled cry from him. The cries had gone to screaming and wailing at this point, so much so that everyone in the house and even some neighbors had woken up. Abeni, Akinjide and Ayo rushed into Olawunmi's room to see what had happened. The moment Olawunmi saw Ayo hale and hearty, it occurred to her that her son must have eaten the poisoned meal. She heard Dapo and started screaming, "Did you eat the porridge?" Dapo weakly nodded yes. She started wailing and stormed out of the house. Abeni, Akinjide and Ayo were confused. Akinjide dashed after her as it is late into the midnight. Some neighbors who had come out from hearing too much noise at that time of the night helped Akinjide to hold her down as they don't know where she is running to. They thought she is running mad. Everyone was confused. Olawunmi was just screaming, telling them to leave her and let her go. Abeni carried Dapo in her arms and brought him outside to collect fresh air as he was sweating profusely. She laid him down and started fanning him. A small crowd of neighbors had formed at this point, and Olawunmi, who was still wailing that the people holding her should let her go, was asked where she is going to. Then she started confessing. She said she was going to Ijaye's house to collect antidotes. She then revealed how Ijaye gave her a substance to put in the yam porridge that was supposed to be for Ayo, but Dapo ended up eating it. Everyone present gasped. They were shocked that Olawunmi could do such an evil act. A furious Abeni pounced on Olawunmi and started punching her with all her might. She started screaming, "So you want to kill my child? What have I done to you? What have I done that you want to kill my only child?" The neighbors tried to separate them, but Abeni was mad with anger and it took a while to separate them. While this was going on, some neighbors went to their house to bring palm oil to calm the boy's stomach for a bit, but all is to no avail. Olawunmi, carrying her child in her arms, followed by Akinjide and some other neighbors, set out to Ijaye's hut to get antidote to the poison. But on getting there, Ijaye told them that Olawunmi herself requested for the one without antidote, and she threatened to use her powers to turn all of them into stones if they don't disappear in seconds. Olawunmi started begging Ijaye, but instead of Ijaye to take pity on her, she cackled her usual evil laughter and shut the door of her hut in their faces. Some moments after they got back home, Oladapo started trembling vigorously. They all attempted to save him by pouring palm oil in his mouth, but unfortunately, he breathed his last breath. Olawunmi started wailing uncontrollably as her only son died in her very face. She tore her clothes and started rolling on the floor as she cried hot tears. Oladapo was buried in the morning with no ceremonial rites, as it is a bad omen for elders to perform funeral rites for a child. Akinjide drove Olawunmi back to her father's house with a stern warning that he never wants to see her again. He also quit his job with Baba Adeleye as he wants nothing to do with the family any longer. That same night, he went to Iyoniwo's hut under the cover of the night and set it ablaze, not caring what will happen to him because of her supernatural powers. No one heard of Iyoniwo after that, whether she is dead or alive. Ayo was greatly saddened about the loss of his brother, for he loved him very much despite his nasty attitudes. He went on to finish university, got married and became highly successful in his chosen career. He built the biggest and most beautiful home for his parents in Ijaye town. Olawunmi's father died few months after the sad incident, and her mother also passed away shortly afterwards. Olawunmi, who has lost the will to live after her son died, could not look after her parents' wealth after they were gone. Their business folded up, and all the wealth which used to be the bane of Olawunmi's existence went to the drain. The only thing left is the house, which only Olawunmi occupied with no family or loved one. And that is the sad end of the proud and obnoxious Olawunmi. What have you learned from this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting stories from Folktales from Africa. Thank you. God bless you.